Okay, since no one's here to speak at the public hearing, I'd like a motion to close it.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Do I have a motion to open the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Does anybody on the board have any announcements? Any announcements?
Well, we have the upcoming turkey trot.
You might want to talk into the microphone. I guess we should all be talking into the microphone.
So the community is invited to participate in our annual turkey trot. It's a fundraiser for Family of New Paltz. I believe it kicks off at 9 o'clock at Water Street Market. And it's, I think, a 3K, and people can pre-register at Rock and Snow.
Great. Any other announcements? Okay, public input for the regular meeting? No? Okay, so then basically the one thing on the agenda for tonight is to adopt the final budget. It has to be given to the state by the 20th, and we're 2 days early. What we did from after the public hearing and the board discussion, what we did was we put $1,000, we increased by $1,000 the rail trail maintenance.
Can you tell me what line that is?
It is it is
7110, I think.
7110.
Okay.
So it went from 1,000 to 2,000, which is, yeah, go ahead, take one, which is what Chris Marks, our highway superintendent of building and grounds extraordinaire, had said that he felt that with that money, it would help us do a little bit of stabilization of the bridge that goes over Springtown Road over the river and crosses the rail trail. And so this would stabilize it. And it would also have a little bit of money for there's an easement that the town has on Springtown Road. I think it's a Hasbrook easement, I think it's called. And there used to always be like a lot of tires and a lot of debris over there. And Lynn Boundary most recently has been doing the monitoring, and she was thrilled to death that it was absolutely cleaned and really in good shape. But she said that they probably would need a little bit of access management clearing and whatever. And I think that's the one easement. Yeah, it's the one easement that I think that
It's fee simple, it's not an easement.
Oh, it's a fee simple. I'm sorry, Stacy told me it was an easement, but I guess that's the one that we sort of maintain versus other ones where the owners maintain it.
Correct.
Right here.
Right.
Right here.
Yeah. So Stacy said that we might have to do just a little bit of access management to get there, but the $2,000 Chris and Stacy both felt would do the job. So we increased that based on what the board had said at the last meeting. When I was going through the budget one last time to look through it in the worksheets, and I was looking at allocating purchasing out to the individual lines, I actually noticed that I had double booked in purchasing. I had budget and bookkeeper, and I had justice, and I had court. So that means I'm taking $3,582 out of purchasing, which means with the $1,000 for the rail trail, we're actually minus $2,582 in the budget in the A fund. So I just made that correction because
You mean plus?
Net.
net, instead of adding 1,000, we're decreasing.
Right.
Right. So it's
You
a
said-
decrease.
Yes, okay.
Okay. We agreed to put $25,000 in the rescue squad in the B
Well,
fund.
I'm not sure that I would like to wait for Jeff's recommendation on that, because I think after last week's presentation, we learned that there is funding in the rescue squad's vehicle purchase account, and so that it's possible that they only need $10,000 for
Well,
each of us.
I mean, we can wait until Jeff comes, but like I had said to Jeff afterwards that what they wanted the money for was not for vehicle purchasing or for whatever it was, to be able to pay for a full-time,
Yes. Medic.
paramedic and stuff.
But,
And that's what
but they showed a $50,000 net loss because they didn't know to bill against the the $30,000 that they had put in for for vehicular acquisitions, that they actually have a fund for
So
that.
what you're saying, Katie, I think we talked about this last week, is that there is an additional amount of revenue in their line, so that if that revenue is reallocated, in other words, if the expense is not an expense, they're going to have more money available to pay for this new position. That's
Right.
what you're saying. So let me ask you a procedural question. If we budget this amount to the line, it doesn't mean we have to spend it.
No, we don't. And we're also taking it out of fund balance money. We're not taxing for that money. So we're not raising taxes in order to come up with the $25,000. We took it out of fund balance because we have enough money in the B fund so we could allocate it, which I thought was what we were going to do, and we can wait for Jeff to come here. And I think I did talk with Jeff afterwards, because I said to Jeff, I didn't necessarily agree with the logic in terms of how he was presenting it relative to what I knew they wanted. And so, and actually, quite frankly, what they really actually said they wanted was $150,000, but they were asking for 50. But I know that. But I'm saying again that we
but
could
the-
put the
the
money in, but we don't have to.
So what is the actual salary for that position?
I think it's 50,000. That's why they're saying if they could get 50, they could
But
be
they-
a paramedic.
Kitty, my point is this. If there's more investigation that's required here, it seems there is, I think we're going to have to kind of budget this in a manner so that it's in a line. But I'm with you on this in terms of doing a little more due diligence before we actually commit the funds contractually. So this is just for budgetary purposes. It doesn't mean we're committing the money just because it's in the line. We have to commit it contractually by signing something.
And like I said, we're not raising taxes to come up with that money,
Right,
so it's
but
just.
in my experience, once something appears in a budget
Well,
line,
That's not true. We've saved money all throughout the course of the year that the budget.
but those aren't with contractual agencies, right? I mean, we can budget a certain amount for highways and other programs, and if they don't spend it, it just gets rolled over.
But it's really the board members of which Jeff included,
Can you
who's
talk into the
working on
microphone?
this, we're gonna determine what, if anything, they need in addition to what they're getting now. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Well, let's just defer that until
Okay.
Jeff gets here, because I'm pretty sure that I remember him saying
Okay, so
last
we'll see
week
what he
that he
says.
recommended
How about the next
$10,000.
item, the libraries?
And
But
then the
can we
library-
go back to the rail trail?
Sure.
I just want to be absolutely positive that, because it looks to me like there's a lot of ditching and drainage mess along, and I don't know if you feel that that's your obligation, if that's something that the highway department needs to be looking at, but that's why I recommended $5,000.
Can you come, Chris, so you're talking to the microphone and the camera and the TV and...
I'm waiting for a clarification on the contract. It's a very old contract, the rail trail. I have asked, I guess the rail trail committee chairperson has changed a few times in 2 years. So my original discussion with her was, we should get together with Joe Moriello and ratify the contract so I know exactly what the highway is responsible for. If it's just ditching, then all we're talking about is diesel fuel. And, in a time, it's not that intensive for what has to be done.
Okay.
The biggest concern was the approach to the rail trail bridge from Springtown.
Right. So I'm glad to see that's covered here.
Well,
But,
just so you just know, though, it's only a temporary fix. It's not fixing the bridge as a whole. And when I called, unfortunately, I was here yesterday all day working on it, is to make sure we covered everything. And I called Chris to sort of, get a handle on what number we had agreed to put in, because I couldn't remember. So we talked about it. And Chris had said that the bridge is going to take more rehabilitation. And I had said to Chris, well, maybe we should put whatever money he needs now into this budget, because we're already saving money and reducing taxes to start with, so let's not do it next year when we don't know what kind of shape we're going to be in. So I had suggested to Chris maybe we should put in the $5,000. He had said that one of the things, and this is, again, we could put the money in and we don't have to spend it. He said that New York Rising was sort of dealing with this also, potentially looking for money for it or whatever, and that he didn't have the plan. But I'm not averse to putting the money in now and having it in this budget, and because, like, again, like I said, we're already reducing taxes 4%, and I don't know what next year's going to bring. But,
We
so
didn't
let's have
have
that
a cost
conversation.
analysis. Dave Klauser and I spent the better part of a morning out there walking around and looking at things. We really came up with a hard figure. The 2,000 or the extra 1,000 in my mind was so we could just get it so people could walk on it safely, not a patch job. In the committee with New York Horizons, which we're in, that is one of the major topics of discussion is the rail trail bridge.
Okay.
No, let me
Well,
just, I'm sorry.
One of the things that I learned at a storm management conference last week is that some communities are actually leveling parts of their rail trails to make them flat so that they don't act as a dam on two sides. So I can send you the link to that. But if there are places that are flooding properties because of the rail trail that could just be ditched, if it's a drainage problem, then
I think the drainage issue was more to get the water off the rail trail, not that it was actually flooding property. If we got on it and fixed it, then the upkeep is relatively cheap.
Okay.
It's just that initial, I need a better handle or contract on someone to tell me, yes, this is what we're supposed to do.
So you don't see any hot spots other than the bridge and the access to the bridge?
No, nothing that wouldn't.
urgent.
I mean, we've offered to help the Rail Trail Committee with some bridge maintenance next year just by donating some equipment. They're helping. They're going to
Okay.
do the work.
So just explain to me, why would the maintenance, why would the stabilization that needs to be done for the bridge qualify as a New York Rising funded project?
Well, New York Rising, it meets many criteria. It meets economical, social, emergency. One, it's the only access to west of the Wallkill, possibly. It is now not safe to drive a vehicle over to one spot. So it meets that it meets many criteria levels. It's just assigning that. We just had a meeting tonight. The risk assessment, where it is in the pecking order, so to speak, of what we want to do as a single project, as a multiple layered project. We're now getting in with the engineers somewhat and getting their explanation on how things are going to go, and it's a big task.
So, I mean, do you think ultimately that the funding to fix the bridge will come through the New York Rising money, or?
I believe so. Again, their thing with us is we keep thinking too small. We came up with $20 million, and it's still, okay, that's like spending a dime at the dollar store, bigger. Keep thinking bigger. So that's, now it's revamp, and go back and work through the committee and think of stuff even bigger. And it's how to tie those projects in with other things. It's not just the rail trail, it's the whole, the rail trail as a whole. What else does it affect and do?
Have them buy the power operation down at the dam and turn it over to the town.
That's a very big,
That's big.
a very big discussion on that.
So then we can produce power and give it to our community members.
So,
Any suggestion makes it to the committee. That's
well, Wednesday is a public meeting, so that's a, so.
So we're okay with this line?
Well, that's what, I don't know, I want to ask.
$2,000. I mean, it's not every day that a department head says, no, don't give me as much money as you're trying to give me.
well, I'll take as much as you all want to give me, but without really knowing what
Well, if you don't see
the
a
scope of
need.
it is, I think, maybe I'm thinking with blinders on. I'm looking really at the bridge as the major problem, and then the little bit of work we have to do that I see problems-wise, ditching-wise, is not that much.
Yeah, my only just concern is I don't want to have to get hit with not next year when 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 makes a difference to us versus this
We
year.
have to wait and see what happens with New York Rising.
Well, but if it's,
Is the
but
rail
again, we don't have to
trail-
spend the money if, even if we
Right.
allocate it, we don't have to spend it.
But is the rail trail a priority in general for New York Rising?
Well, it really hasn't been set forth in priority. We're still in identifying priorities versus emergency services, social, economical, those. It's always a topic of discussion. It's one of our key points, not the only one, but it's one of our always points we seem to be coming back to every meeting.
Is it rail trail?
Yeah, rail trail, the Walk Hill River, it all kinds of,
Right.
and it all kind of ties in. It's just having, is it something that we would spend our little piece of the pie, on, or is this something that might work into the whole county's scheme of it, so we don't have to use, we'll say, what our money would be allocated for the town for it. We're not to that point yet. I don't think it would be left out. I'd be surprised if it was.
Okay, so then we should feel comfortable leaving it at the $2,000
Right,
for the moment.
if you feel like, overgrowth, if poison ivy is coming up over the path, I haven't seen that, and I'm out there pretty much, but I just thought $5,000 would be enough to really do rail trail maintenance. If you're not seeing an urgent need for it this year, I would like to keep it at $3,000. I
2,500. Sure you want. 3,000.
It's just one of our
3,000.
big.
Isn't they have to go back and
tourism.
change this budget again?
Why don't we leave it at 2? It's not a big difference. He needs more money.
Okay, let's leave it at 2, and if he needs more money, because honestly, for $500, the work it's going to take tomorrow to have to change this budget to get it to the
And even
state.
the roadbed material, we use a lot of recycled things, so, if we had to, we have stockpiles. We don't
Okay.
throw anything away, which I'm constantly getting yelled at for.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, don't leave, you might as well just stay here.
Library?
Well, the library basically, the number increased from 321 to 396 because it was approved by the voters, and we have no choice.
So those are the only changes now?
And so and the rescue squad are the changes. Those are the changes that we agreed to as a board after the last meeting, and so that's what's reflected. Now, since then, certain requests have come in terms of the judges wrote to us, there's a $450 problem with a program that was, I was informed by our software vendor.
They want fully billed for the
They
program?
weren't fully billed, but it was $450, which I was going to fix. Then the Justice Court said something about the bailiffs and ammunition and stuff, and they wanted us to do something with that. You all got a copy in the email. I have letters to you here. Stacy came in today about, she just got the hazard mitigation plan from the county, and it's going to take some...
Flood mitigation?
The hazard mitigation plan that we're doing with the county. And it's going to take some more time in terms of public output and stuff, so she's going to need some extra hours for Kelly. I had talked about increasing the senior stuff and putting some more time in for the bookkeeper. I was about to make a second budget, to do this budget, which was the one that we had spoken about as a board, and then do a second final budget, putting all these in. I spoke with Jean, and Jean basically said that to add these things in at the last minute is just not the way to do things, to get things from department heads, like the day the budget's done, the work that it would put on me, which I was prepared to do, and Caroline, we had till God knows how much long anyway. She said that ultimately these people can come to us, we have money contingency, we can deal with it, going forward. And so I did not take these changes and put them into this budget. So, but that doesn't mean that there'll be some small changes here or there going forward possibly, but we have money to accommodate them if we have to anyway. So basically, those were the 3 changes. Jeff, we're waiting for you to come back to discuss the rescue squad, because I have the $25,000 in the B fund for the rescue squad. We're not raising taxes, we took it from a fund balance. So my sense was to keep it in the budget, and then as your subcommittee worked with the village to assess what their need is, what their budget is, and what the recommendation is, we don't have to spend the money, but at least it's allocated if we believe that we should be giving them the money. So we wanted to wait for you to come and give your input.
I'm good kind of either way. The $25,000, that's our share, and you're also expecting or anticipating the village to give $25,000?
Well, that's what we were asking. That's what the board had recommended, and that's what we suggested to them. And
I'm okay with the $25,000 if it's a one-time only. Like this year, that would be $25,000, and we have a lot of work to do with the rescue squad, and then also having people in place with the rescue squad to work on their budget. Absolutely.
Okay, I thought you had recommended at our joint meeting last week that we allocate an extra 10,000. So I just wanted to...
I could also,
Net 10,
Yes,
not 25.
not
10.
35, but 10.
10,
Right,
10.
yes.
right. That also would suit the needs of the budget. The reason being is and I'll just use the example of one thing in the budget line, not to drag it out any longer than need be, but they're buying a new vehicle. The vehicle is $30,000. They're taking that out of a reserve fund, for which they count the reserve fund separate from their budget lines. So they do not include reserve fund purchases as a asset on their budget, and then is only reflected as a deficit on their budget. So their budget loss of $50,000 is inflated by $30,000 because they don't show an offsetting.
But I don't think they're asking for the money because there's a loss.
Well,
They're
actually, they
asking for
are,
money
no.
because they
Right,
want
no,
to.
that's what they submitted to us.
They're-
They showed a negative 50,000.
They're actually asking for us to help us cover the loss, which I'm not saying is an unreasonable request, but the $50,000 loss is not actually a loss that the rescue squad it has, because part of that loss would be the purchase of a vehicle, and they're going to be purchasing that vehicle out of a vehicle fund that they use, very similar to the fire department has a vehicle replacement program. The rescue squad uses a similar one. I know on their ambulances it's 9 years. Rings a bell, and I believe on their rigs it's 9 years. And I apologize, I don't know their schedule on their fly vehicles. Probably 5. Maybe Bill can help me. 5, 7. What's the vehicle last? I mean,
the fire, we talked 20 years.
yeah. No, that's ambulance. I mean, on the fly vehicles though, like Chiefs.
I have no idea.
Yeah, either do I.
Well, on the Chiefs car, we're probably 5 years.
Yeah, 5, 7 years on a Chiefs car, or in this case would be the fly car for the medics. So anyway, the reason being is the $50,000 is reflective also of a $30,000 loss on a vehicle for which they had already planned to take out a vehicle reserve fund. So there's really a $20,000 loss if you include that. So, I mean, potentially if we wanted to, we could just split the $20,000 with the village, or if we wanted to split the whole 25, they'd be able to maintain money in the vehicle replacement program. Reason being is we're still 2 years away from them getting $150,000 from a pilot, which at the time the pilot was written, it was supposed to cover the cost of an ambulance. That's probably going to cover about 75% of an ambulance if we're lucky. So they're going to need probably about $200,000 to $210,000, $215,000 to buy a new ambulance in a couple of years. So I think what it would be, I apologize, Kevin.
No, I think, so I understand what Jeff is saying. I think what he's saying is that they have, as an expense line, a vehicle purchase in their budget this year, but they have the funds in a segregated account for equipment purchases. So unless they're replenishing that fund with their purchase, okay, if they have to do it that way, then I understand what he's saying. He's saying that the net loss, when you back out the $30,000 expense, maybe is a $20,000 net loss. And that doesn't take into consideration the other issues that they discuss with us when they're here. By bringing on this new paramedic, they're not going to have to rely on a third-party service anymore. So there's going to be 2 points to that. They don't have to pay the third-party provider for calls they have to cover for us here. That's number one. And number two, they're going to be able to bill for those calls, at least whatever percentage they normally bill for calls. So there's going to be 2 new revenue streams for them by having the new paramedic. So this net loss is probably going to be maybe a net neutral number, but we don't know that. So my suggestion is this: we need to have more conversations with them. I don't want to cut off our nose to spite our face either. So let's budget the 25 and then decide how much of that, if any, we're going to spend.
So what line is that?
It's in the B fund, and there's a rescue squad line in the B fund. It is 4540. So if you look at page 7, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth section up from on page 7. And again, like I said, it's being taken out of fund balance. We're not taxing for it.
Which I think is probably, to Kevin makes a very valid point there, is probably not a bad idea. Because again, I don't want to be charging funds that we don't necessarily need right now for.
Raise taxes.
We don't want to raise taxes over something that we potentially have also a reserve fund for. The other good news, and part of it is they are more than happy, and now that she's not here, I'm happy to volunteer her again. They would like the assistance of Jean, because they are going through a transition in how they're keeping their books and also with their business officer. So Jean could certainly assist them tremendously in helping them have their books and have them look the way the controller has ours look. They use different formats because they don't have to use our same format, but they certainly could create a format that would meet much better with your budget requests, and then you would have it, be able to look at it. And again, the financial oversight would be the best. So, yeah, they have agreed to have a financial liaison, and it's probably something we should look at on any type of,
I agree with
any type of committee and or organization that we give money to. And I think that's up to and including any of the recreation committees we give funds to.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, we also don't give them, I think their money, the first check I think is in March. So we have time with the village also to work on this. And
So the financial liaison with ambulance, with fire, and I think it would help, and with whatever other organizations we're giving large chunks of money to, and that way we'll have an independent kind of audit there, and we'll know, we'll be able to rely on that information. It'd be great.
And I think Kevin's point is very well taken, because then you get a financial liaison, and just because we have someone from the fire department here, is then we have one person really asking and getting information, and they could provide it both to the town and village boards. They could sit with them, then we would have the financial information that we require each year for our budget, and decide whether we want to raise taxes for it. If everyone's comfortable with budgeting it, putting in the rescue squad, the $25,000, it would be a one-time only. We don't need to raise taxes for it. I believe it is a reasonable request, but certainly one that it is going to take some more work, and again, I'm only volunteering her because she's not here.
So help me understand why this is in the 400 line, because my understanding is this is for personal services.
it's contractual though. It's not the personal services only for people who work for the town that we give payroll checks to.
Okay. Well, I think I have to be opposed to this, just because once, without a budget note next to this, saying one time only for additional personnel, this sort of thing can just become a carryover. I know that you would be vigilant about.
Well, actually, I have to ask Jeff about the one time only, because I don't understand. I mean, I understand we have to look at the money, and they might be getting more revenue, so they might not need this much money. But if this is paying for an extra medic, full-time medic, I don't see how it could be a one-time only, because if we're increasing their budget to include that, but I do understand that once they look at this stuff, that we might find out that they have more revenue, and so therefore they don't need this money. But if all of a sudden we look and see that so I couldn't.
Wait, I just have one other question.
Well, I'm sorry, and if I can answer that in a budget fashion, and I'm sorry, Kitty.
Okay.
But if you look at it, and Kevin explained it again, they're basing the $25,000 on a $50,000 loss. Operating loss. So that's where the number came from. In going through the budget with them, and I sat down to rescue squad. Right away, I was able to find a $30,000 offsetting expense that did not reflect the offsetting revenue. The offsetting revenue is taking that $30,000 out of a vehicle fund that they keep as a separate fund, which is not a bad way to do it. They don't reflect that $30,000 though anywhere in their operating budget. So although the plan is to take the $30,000 out of a vehicle reserve fund, it's not reflected in the budget. So when we say one time only, it really is one time. The $50,000 isn't to just offset a new operating expense of a new medic. It's also an expense to offset, for example, they're buying a new vehicle in 2014. But yet that's
So in other words, they
been
won't have that
The problem
expense,
is
they
that
won't have that
they're
expense in
showing-
2015, so that's why.
But the
This-
problem is that they're showing an expense as a net loss without showing the other revenue side. And so then the actual deficit decreases. And I understand they have two paid financial managers?
Well, they're changing their structure. They had one business officer. They're looking at a structure of going to 2 part-time business officers or a part-time business officer along with a secretary that would assist the business officer.
And those salary lines run about?
The total for those two would run, say, $50,000
Okay, I
for
mean,
those two,
I'm...
or one.
I'm just feeling that with that kind of financial oversight being paid for, and then this kind of discrepancy, that it is probably unlikely that full amount of $50,000 is needed. So, I mean, I don't want to belabor this all night. I would vote yes to allocate an extra $10,000, but no for an extra $25,000.
I just want to say one more thing, and that is, however this was done in the past, we've reached a point now in the present where we're kind of learning that we need to do things a little differently here. And Jeff's suggestion to have a financial liaison, when these organizations are asking for bigger and bigger chunks of money, all the town wants to do is to know that they truly need it, and that they don't have alternative ways to raise the revenue instead of relying on the taxpayer for the delta. So I'm happy with Jeff's explanation. We have been very vigilant in the way money is spent around here, and we're not going to just take this as an exception. So I'm happy with the 25 being allocated to the line, but I'm optimistic that that will not be spent, that whole amount.
Okay, well, if you all
Well, I think
prefer to leave the $25,000 in, let's just take a vote on that line. And then I think, okay, our business is done.
Okay, Kevin?
I'm voting yes for the $25,000 budgetary line.
Right.
I'm not voting yes for spending that money.
I understand.
Jeff?
On line 522, 4540, 400, just so Roseanne has the budget
Right,
line.
right.
I will vote yes if you'll put in a friendly amendment that this is a one-time increase,
Possibly a one-time.
a one-time increase.
You're right.
That's about it.
So one-time.
One-time increase. I'm happy with that, actually, and I vote yes.
Let me just find the line again. It's,
You did some nice things where you did put in side notes.
no, I know, that's why I'm looking to, but see, the rescue squad is not broken out, but I can,
No, you can just put a,
I'll do the asterisk next to the B,
it's,
I'll do it on less unexpended fund balance, and I'll put a little asterisk there.
actually, I apologize, it would be a two-part asterisk. It would be based on it being a one-time expense, also based on the village fully committing the funds, fully committing matching funds.
So I'm just going to think, where do I,
So next year, you can put footnotes in here. You can use number 1 through 1,000, and then have a footnote page.
So since I don't have a one, I don't have a 1 star, so I'll put it next to the, right there, and then I'll put the star up here, except unfortunately, I didn't want to have, but this is only changing the cover page, so I think we could do this. So I'm putting in one-time expense
Contingent upon matching funds from the village.
rescue squad, one-time expense of $25,000
Up to.
up to $25,000 with matching funds,
Contingent
contingent
on payment of matching funds by the
from
village.
village. Okay, so that's a yes, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, and Kevin, you accept the friendly
As modified,
amendment?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a yes, so it passed, so you can vote whatever way you want, Kitty.
Okay, well, I'm going to vote no because it appears that the request was based on a mathematical error.
Okay.
Which I do not disagree with, by the way.
I don't
Kitty.
disagree with that
We
either.
don't- we don't disagree this evening.
Okay,
So thank you. Kitty.
so,
We're fine.
with that,
Now, you had said something about some additional funds for senior.
well, what had happened, okay, so there's a couple of things I told you. There was $450 for the library, not the library, I'm sorry, Jeff, what you had missed at the beginning was that my original intent was to do this budget, which had the changes based on what we had agreed to at the last meeting. Then I was going to have a second final budget that was going to have a possible $5,000 increase for seniors, which we talked about the other day, some extra money for the part-time bookkeeper who the past bookkeeper had 30 hours. For some reason, 18 hours was put into this budget, but the bookkeeper absolutely needs more help. There's no ifs and buts about that, so I was going to put in some 10 extra hours for that. Then I was going to put in $2,000 for the wetlands inspector that we didn't put in last year because of the wetlands law. Stacy had put it in this year, but somehow I hadn't seen it, but we also didn't have the law, so I didn't think we needed to put it in. I talked to Stacy about it today, and she said, well, she wanted to put the money in just in case. We ended up having the law, and we needed to have the inspector. Let's be on the safe side. Plus, we have federal wetlands and state wetlands, so she wanted to put the $2,000 in. And then, again, like I told you, and then Kelly, Stacy wanted to put in about some extra money for, it's only $974, but for Kelly because of the hazard mitigation plan, and then the justices asked us to put in some extra money for ammunition and to raise the hourly rate of the bailiffs because they're so low paid. When I spoke to Jean, like I had said, had a fit that we were going to be changing the budget on the day that the budget was due, and that it would be a lot of work for me to have to go back and make all the changes, which we already were making changes to start with. So I did bring forward the budget with those changes in it. If the board wants to,
I would be willing to entertain requests that were made from department heads in a timely fashion, but which we simply overlooked. I think those we do have an obligation to add. So if Stacy had requests in there, and the bookkeeper had requests in there, which we just missed.
No, the bookkeeper, see, unfortunately, what I'm saying is it's not that the bookkeeper missed it. For some reason, the bookkeeper who did the budget is no longer here.
Okay.
Only put in 18 hours. However, she was getting 30 hours of help. So for some reason, why, when she had 30 hours of help, she went in and put in 18 hours. At the time the budget was done, though, I think it might have been done because she was here and Arlene was here, and so maybe she was putting in for extra help, expecting to, I don't know what. Regardless, the point is the bookkeeper does need more help. There's no ifs and buts about that.
So what line is that?
That would be 1340.
Okay, so that would be increased.
It would be from 18 hours to 28 hours. Would be increasing at $6,240. It's $12 an hour.
Okay, so
For
instead
so
of being
from-
55,000,
No, but the one below,
It would be the contractual expense.
so instead of 55.
No, it would be actually, I'm sorry, it would be personal
yeah,
services.
so instead of 55, it
It
would
was
be
55,310 if you added 6240. Jeff's got the calculator.
okay.
Because this is, we had budgeted, they have $12,
It's $12 an hour
It's,
for
it's correct.
18 hours,
yeah.
and I added 10 more hours. Quite frankly, she needs even more help than that, but
So you want to increase how much?
it's like 6,240 would be an increase of 10 more hours.
So 61,550.
Okay, so I move that we add $240 to line 522-1340-100.
Does somebody want to second that?
No, wait, before you, it's not A1340? What
It
line?
is, it's a
I
1340.
apologize.
I think
Point
that's what you
one.
said.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
You did say that, Jeff.
No, I didn't hear what Kitty said that.
That's what I,
That's what Kitty
I
said.
actually made it as a motion.
Right.
I apologize.
And Jeff
Kitty.
said,
I-
Wait,
Yeah.
it's 1340, and I said, but I said
Kevin-
1340.
you want to
And he
second
said,
the
no, you didn't say
discussion.
1340.
Kevin seconded for the discussion, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Kitty.
How to have fun with the budget.
Jeff, what would the number be, so I just can add it right now?
61,550.
61,550. Okay, and so, do you want to just give me real quickly the bottom number? So if you add 61,550, the 2050, and the 2650?
It's 66.
66250.
250, okay. So that's that. We did the rail trail. There was I had talked with you guys about putting in $5,000 for senior programming. What we have is, since we put in the senior coordinator, people are very, very, very excited. I have been getting more positive feedback about that one thing than anything we've done in this budget. And a lot of people feel that there's so many seniors that have nobody to go to or talk to or call in regards to, how to navigate the system in terms of, whether it's medical issues. That's my phone that's going off. Turn it off so you don't hear it. Sorry. So anyway, so this would be, the senior coordinator that we would have would be to have somebody who's here, so the seniors can call somebody, who can help them navigate, Obamacare, navigate, that their mother's here alone and they live in California.
Seniors don't have to navigate
Oh, right, because they're Medicare, okay,
Let's
sorry.
just
Sorry.
put that myth
You're right,
to
you're right,
rest.
you're right, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
But they need a lot of help with Medicare Part B, Part D,
Thank you.
okay. But for whatever it is, the issues, the things, how do they stay in home, all this type of stuff. So I met with some people who were going to reconvene the senior committee, and they talked about things like how Woodstock does free yoga classes for seniors, and it would be really nice if we could offer some programs for our seniors where they don't have to actually pay. So we talked about putting $5,000 in to augment what the senior committee is going to do and the coordinator is going to do. If you want to do that?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we will be putting that in line. Programs for the aging, which is adult recreation. Nope, not that one.
Oh, by the way, thank you for putting our budget online in Excel form.
Well,
So
I wanted
people
to-
following
I
us at
wanted to-
home
Finish the vote.
It's
can
522.
look at it online.
It's 522-6772-400.
0.4, right, okay, so we're going
Programs for
to
aging contractual
so we're going to add
expenses.
5,000 into that.
So it's 18,240.
And so that'll be down
240.
So
23,240. Okay, so do I have a motion?
so moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then we,
Thank you, Ray.
okay, the 2,000 for the wetlands inspector, that would be in the B fund, which if we put it in, we could take it out of fund balance too, we don't have to increase taxes. So it's-
I don't have my actual, do you know what we spent last year on that?
Well, this is what happened, Jeff. We
No, I know
actually,
we had it for a partial of the year.
no, we didn't put money in last year because we didn't have the wetlands law. No, what ended up happening is what he's doing, there is money you'll see
He's
in this
done them for applicants.
applicants.
before the planning
And what
board.
you'll see, and actually, if you look in the planning board line right now, you will see a $1,235 expense, but that actually because I asked about that today, so I could answer, if you asked me, why do we have that, whatever, that's actually in the wrong place. It's an escrow, it has to be billed to Park Point. That was a wetlands inspection done for Park Point that has to be billed to their escrow account. So by asking today, Stacy and Kelly, what that was for, they both said that shouldn't be there. They went and checked it, and it has to be moved. And so we haven't spent any money other than what was done by the applicant.
I had
So that would just be
80/20. Is that-
80, 20, 410?
Yeah.
All right, so I move that we add $2,000 to that one.
Now, actually, wait a second, before you go anything, you have 80/24/10, so that's the planning board, but then there's also, there's this line right down here for
Right.
5/80/95,
Yeah,
wetlands protection, so it probably goes in there.
So I would.
Because the other money, the other is planning board, that's all applicant money.
Right, okay.
and my application and motion to line 522-8090-410.
Okay.
8095.
.4. And I'm also going to recommend we take that out of fund balance and not increase taxes, because we have enough money in fund balance in the B fund.
That's part of my proposal,
Okay, so,
motion.
do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Then Stacy had asked for additional overtime for Kelly for the hazard mitigation plan, so it would only be $974, increasing it from the 20 hours of overtime to 60 hours of overtime. It's $974 for Kelly for the hazard mitigation plan, because there's going to have to be a lot of community outreach.
What line?
And that would be, it would be,
Is that only in B
Safety.
fund?
it's B fund.
But who
It's safety
do
inspection.
village residents talk to for hazard mitigation?
They're doing their own plan.
Okay.
They voted to, we asked them to do it, and they voted to agree to go in to the county as a hazard mitigation plan too, so they're doing,
Okay.
What line is it?
I forgot, we made that change, right?
She just texted me, she said it didn't make it.
Oh, it didn't make it? Okay, yeah, okay. Thank goodness she's watching.
Really?
Tell her, hi, Carol. No, it's Carol. Carol just texted because we thought we caught this, and then she's saying we never made it in. Okay, so it would be, for the safety inspection, it would be, in the personal service line for safety inspection, it would be another $974.
So that's 3620-100?
It is 3620.1,
Yeah, how much more?
$974. So do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Me and Carol were going to do this all today, and we didn't, because, okay, then what Carol just called, I thought we had changed it, but because of, if in the B fund, you'll see that we have $21,750 for the master plan consultant. He was supposed to have started in November, so we took the $26,000, divided it by 12, prorated it. We put 2 months in this year's budget. We were going to take out of contingency, so we only budgeted 21,750, not the 26,000. Being that we're not going to probably be doing the contract until December, we actually have to up it to the 26,000. So that's 8091.4.
I move that we raise the amount of 21,750 to 26,000.
Dollars from
That's it?
21,750.
Okay.
So that's 809. That's 8091.4. So that's going to be 26, and you want that to come out of fund balance too, right?
Yeah, if you got it.
Yep, we got it. So you made, Kevin, you made the motion?
I think I made the motion.
Okay, did somebody second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. I'd like to thank Carol Connolly, who must be watching right now, for calling and reminding that we hadn't done that, because that would have been a really bad oversight.
Well, I was getting there. Thanks, Carol.
Is there anything else from your list?
The only other thing is the justices. You all got this request today, and Jim Bacon called. You all got an email, but here's copies also, if you want to go through this.
I saw that.
And, here you go. So did everybody read it?
Yeah.
Okay, Kitty, did you have a chance to read it?
Yes?
Okay, so does anybody have a problem with what they're requesting? I
I have
mean,
a question. What does $200 buy in the number of rounds you can buy for $200? Does anybody know?
Chris,
How many
can
rounds
you-
9 millimeter?
Yeah,
Or is it 10 millimeter? I think
How
they're
many
10
rounds?
millimeter now.
for $200.
1,000 rounds.
1,000?
Not quite, they get government surplus, I
Yeah,
believe.
probably about 1,000
It's
rounds.
expensive, it's going up.
I get mine
tremendous.
government surplus. I'm
It's
getting
going-
1,000 rounds for about 200.
It's going up tremendously, though.
Wait, but have our court officers ever used a single
Well,
round?
this is what I, actually, Kitty, I asked the same question, thinking the same exact thing, and what I was told today was that actually they have to practice in order to be able to,
But the practicing is part of the regular job as well, in order to keep their court
Well,
certification.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
no, because to be court certified, you don't need to have a pistol permit.
Most
right.
of those guys,
Most of these guys don't.
Office of Court Administration, all those officers carry guns.
They don't, it's not required, though, under the county description. So you can actually be a court officer in Ulster County under the court description and not carry a
You're
weapon.
correct, but the State Office of Court Administration, their officers are authorized and do carry weapons. But
And-
my point is that in their regular jobs, they have to keep their certification. So I don't know why we need to pay for it twice.
Might want to cut those rounds too, down about 500.
I mean, even 500 is ridiculous.
Shut up.
this is being requested by the two judges. I can't, we can hold off and wait for them to come in, and, I mean, what are we talking, an additional $1,000? We could always add it to the budget later. To me, honestly, the hourly rate and the clothing allowance is more of a concern.
So what additional amount?
Well, I mean,
is he
I
looking
do
for?
have a little bit of a problem, too, with, an increase. They're looking for 3 on 14, you're looking 20% more. The hourly rate, that's an awfully large increase.
It is, but on the other hand, the fact that we haven't increased it for so long, and it's so out of alignment with what other courts are getting paid. Now court is a really busy
Well,
court.
we're also, I mean, and just to be a little devil's advocate, and we have an attorney here, so maybe he can comment on it, we also have barely increased our lifeguards. And if you compare our lifeguards to the neighboring pools, to the county or to the state, they are substantially less. So I don't want to use, the measuring stick should not be what others are being paid, but what we're willing to pay.
I think that with category number 2 here, what's difficult about it is that we really don't have the data to see what they're really asking for in the aggregate. We're just saying here from that number to this number, see that? The 15 to the other number, but we're not really, we don't know how many hours that is, how many people that is.
Right, and it's also, a 21% increase is certainly a substantial increase, regardless of whether we raised it or not. And again, we could go through the list of jobs here that we pay substantially less than other areas. And I just think that increase is certainly greater than any position we're giving
Well,
whatsoever in our community.
They had actually wanted to come, and we told them not to come because we said we weren't going to end up,
It's just,
that we weren't going to entertain it tonight. We said that maybe in December they could come and they could talk to us, so we could not act on this one, invite the judges to come, and then discuss it at another time. I mean, just because we don't adopt it tonight doesn't mean that we don't have money contingency.
But the worksheets were submitted in August.
I know that.
And we got a memo from you and Jean today
oh, I
saying
thought it was this.
Yeah.
it's just not a timely request.
Well, I don't think I sent you something. They had asked, they had...
No, I got or maybe it was Carol, actually.
Oh, then Carol might have written them.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize
Yeah.
Carol Carbon,
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
that she wrote back saying that, it should have been in at the time of the budget, whatever, but...
I'm just not,
And I think I need more definition.
So why don't we this one we
And on
don't
the
have to act on,
clothing.
and we can have them come, the judges
I
can
think on the
come.
clothing, we need more definition too, because a lot of these do work as, I know we have at least one that works as a full-time officer in other courts, and I don't
We can
know.
invite them to our December, January meeting, because at the end of the day, if it's another $1,000 or $2,000, there's money in the budget that we'll find, so it's not a problem. So I think, let me just double check if there was anything else on that list. Nope. I think that covers everything.
Does anybody know the Justice Court revenue line? Because I was not aware that the lion's share of revenue
Actually,
came
I
to the
think,
town.
We get a lot of money.
I thought most of it was traffic and stayed in the village, but
No,
that's good news.
no, the village actually gets a very, very,
Village gets money on a violation of the village ordinance. The town keeps the bulk of it because most of the cases end up with a disposition that
The problem is how much money we give back to
trying
to
to
the
be
state.
pays
Right, I know there's a
This
big
is-
check.
We give a lot of money to the
this is
state.
about right for what we get each.
Here it is, 320,000, Kitty.
Okay.
320,000 is in revenue, fines and fines. Well, that fines and forfeited bail, right? Is
Yeah.
that the line?
Yes.
320,000.
Yep.
Okay, and so the
Hence the-
allocation is 216, and then 45, so we're spending less on special prosecutors than we budgeted, because,
Well, what happened was and you'll see it's broken out. Last year was well, you've always had it, when you added the special prosecutor, you had it in the Justice Court line. And after we passed the budget last year, Justice Katz had called me. He had a concern with the special prosecutor being in their line
Right,
because,
right.
they're appearing in front of them.
Yeah.
So he asked me specifically to break it out. When I look back at the what we've spent on the prosecutor last year and the year before, we never seemed to hit the 60,000 mark, and 45,000 seemed to be a pretty good number. Now, anything could obviously change based on the cases and stuff, but that seemed to be a fair number based on 2 years of tracking.
It's a good mechanism to
So I reduced it from 60 to 45.
good.
anything else?
Did Jim Tenger have another request, or?
No, whatever Jim asked for, he got.
Okay.
So his budget. Almost pretty much every department had pretty much got what they asked for. There was very few cuts.
The only other one I have is, and I have absolutely no idea why I'm bringing it up, but the dog park is a zero on here. I just signed a voucher, but I put a question on it. I think Kevin also had a question on it. The dog park has its own line. I know we funded it partially this year.
We give it a $750 stipend.
But we moved some money. It's 522-7190-400. 7190-400. There was a voucher we signed, and there was a question mark on it because it came out of recreation. In fact, Chris, I think you had picked up the material, the sonotubes, and
That wasn't dog park then.
it said dog park on
I
it.
think it was straw.
The sonotubes was dog park. Had
remember seeing it.
8 or
No, the straw
16.
was dog park because I used culvert pipe for sonotubes. I never bought sonotubes.
I just signed a voucher for dog park sonotubes
No.
last night. You'd have signed it, yeah.
I never bought sonotubes.
Huh. You
And
signed
I
it
don't
too?
remember ever seeing this the way I approved it.
Oh,
No.
dog park is included in
Well,
7150.
I couldn't get
that's only just
sonotubes, that's why I didn't buy them.
That's just a stipend for the dog park that, like we give all the recreation groups.
Do you still have
Which-
those out, the last night's, the vouchers from this weekend?
They could be up there. I don't know where you put them when you came back, Jeff.
No, they're still there, yeah.
And they should be there because Ollie was at a funeral today, so they didn't get touched.
You have to look, 'cause we originally bought sonotubes, but they were all wrong. We had to send them back. I don't know why you would have gotten a voucher on that.
So would you get a credit against your bill after it's paid?
We never paid the bill.
Well, I don't know. See, Jeff is saying that if it was a voucher that he approved last night, we were getting ready to pay the bill.
Yeah.
So then we should pull it out.
The only thing I remember up there was straw. We wound up using old stock culvert pipe for sonotubes.
So while we're waiting for Jeff to do that, of course, this will change a little bit, but again, being that the town's assessed value went down 3.5%, we still have reduced taxes 4%, and if the assessed value hadn't gone down, we would have reduced taxes technically 7%, but we reduced it 4%, but the library,
We'll look before we go, they're in their
the
office.
library did
Locked up now.
bump up, it's a 1.5% increase
I don't
in
have it on me.
taxes.
You have a- yeah.
We'll look tomorrow, Jeff, and,
Yeah, there's a one in, I don't know, Kevin, you remember signing that? It was sonotubes, and I believe it was 8 or 16 sonotubes were purchased.
well, he's saying that,
It's the right count.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were returned.
so we shouldn't be paying it.
No.
So then we'll just pull it
That's
out.
Oh, good, because I put a note on it to charge it against that line, but I didn't have a current budget to see if that line was even populated.
Yeah.
So I guess to where I'm starting, and again, I don't know if you want to populate something in that line, though, Susan,
For the
or,
dog park?
you know, I know and I don't know if Chris has anything that he feels he's going to want to charge against that, if we're going to be doing some more work. I know the majority of it I'd rather keep as in kind, but do you feel that you're going to be, I'd rather we use that line, Susan, than charge it against, it was charged against a recreation line for,
No, I know that, it was taken out, I agree with you.
against a rec park, yeah, recreation,
Yeah.
rec park?
Rec.
Yeah.
Rec park,
Park, yeah.
yeah. So I wouldn't
Rec
mind,
sports
if you
park.
think you're going to spend something on it, I'd prefer that we either, like, as I see the rec park, I think we put 2,000 or nothing.
Well, I
The
mean,
New Paltz Sports Park, we actually don't have that populated either.
What's the budget on it?
You're in
It's in-
522, 7150.
I think it's in,
So like
the
rec park,
worksheets.
rec park is, I believe, 250. Dog park is just below that
I
at
do know that we're
71.
gonna want to, Chris is gonna need money for sewer for out at the sports park, but that was gonna hopefully be coming out of Parkland Recreation, although we're trying to get a handle of that.
Yeah, and Susan, just from, you know, your and I's conversation with Arlene, I'm a little nervous on that line, because I know the money was there, so don't take it the wrong way, but the same concerns you have is where did it get transferred to?
That's right, that's
So I think we may be finding ourselves looking for the exact balance on that line, but
And as of now, we're supposedly taking the $25,000 for the Memorial Pool for the, for building the, for the pump was supposed to come in there, that's 25. The 21 for the pavilion
That
came out of
can't come
there.
out of our recreation fees.
Yes, because it's capital improvement.
capital,
It's a repair.
no, capital, which one, the pump?
Yeah.
No, it's capital improvement. That's a capital, the pump is,
Something, it's you're installing an
Right.
asset that has a useful life.
yeah, that's a capital, it definitely was we talked to the engineer about it too. And actually, I spoke to the salesman when he was there, and he said, absolutely, this is a capital improvement because it's moving an asset exactly.
And then you depreciate
'Cause the
it instead of expensing it.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So
we
it's
definitely,
only-
I agree with you. We did check on it, though.
Okay.
It's
Well,
absolutely.
when we did, so there was 25,000 there, then we have the 21,000 for the pavilion, the 10,000 for the
Slab.
slab is gotten reimbursed, although,
But we get, wait, so it's a $50,000 bill, I'm sorry, to go back to the repairs.
It was 50.
And did we get a commitment from the village that they would pay
that,
their half?
yeah, do you remember that? They had committed to paying their half, and then Chris gave an update at the last meeting,
Okay.
remember?
Yeah.
And
Sally said, send me the bill.
Oh, that's right.
now we're going to send it down.
Oh, she'll get the bill.
So the question is, I mean,
On the worksheets, though, if we're back to,
yeah, I think, Jeff, there's money
well, on the
in-
worksheets, I mean, there was a request for $750, so it would total $1,350. I'm in the worksheets now. Here, the actual park recreation.
Sports park, where it says 10,000?
Sports park, there was a request for 2,000, and dog park, there was a request for 750.
Well, that's only just for the stipend. Shouldn't the 750 for the stipend for the dog park should be similar to what we give the baseball association, we give the soccer, we give BMX, we give all the organization stipends?
Yeah, because it's actually put under an incorrect line on the worksheet. It's on 7150-400, which 7150-400 actually is not the right.
Right, daycare.
No, but see,
Well,
it's
you
broken,
could
no,
go-
you have to look at the
yeah.
number because it's broken 400, 410, 430,
I'm with you.
441, 458, 460, they made up all
But I
those.
can't- yeah, but I
That's why I
can't,
get
I can't reproduce 1350 on, I see the request here.
recreation activities.
So recreation, community center, I'm good with that.
And which number was, I know there's a lot of pages in there.
No, that's good, though. It's actually,
Is that the stipend line, Jeff?
Yeah, there's a stipend line where everything's broken out for that. Recreation activities, I think, is a stipend line, isn't it? Where it has all the different money for the different stipends. Yeah, .4. And I think that's the money for the different leagues.
because we should split dog park out, though, and put it, because we did create a line for that years ago.
We did, yes,
So
we
it's
did.
$71,900 is dog park. That's why I put that note on that voucher, so.
Oh, down here, 71 bucks for
Yeah.
dog park.
Very
But,
good.
you want to break that out from the,
Well-
It's nice to give them each their own line, and you can compare in future
So I
years.
think Chris is
I think that we
getting
need to-
calls for assistance there, and I would like,
do you want to, what do you think that,
I'd like Chris to be able to say to them, your budget line is
For the dog
X.
park?
Yeah, for the dog park, and so they're very keenly aware of, they need, majority of dog park needs to be built within kind.
So you want to pull it out of 715485 and add it as a separate line, right?
so what, no, it's,
There's 13, actually I would, because that's where the 13,540 is. It's in 7150,485. So I wouldn't mind backing out,
750.
or if you want to make it 1,000, I don't really, you know.
750 has been allocated to them on that line. So
well, 750 is just a stipend that they get,
Right.
which I know they have the money accounted for something, I don't know what, because they count every penny. And the 750 is like similar to what we give. So what Jeff is saying, though, is if he thinks Chris needs to allocate some more money for some of the work he's doing out there to help, even though most of it is in kind, Jeff is saying that he should tell us if there's some more money he might need, and then put it into that line, is what I think Jeff is asking.
So, yeah, two things. So one is, Kevin is absolutely correct, is we'll decrease 7150, 485, 750. And then, Chris, do you think you want other funds in 7190, 400, which is the dog park?
9,400?
7190, 400, because it's contractual.
Or some,
Yeah. Yeah, that'll help with,
Yes to all of it, or
yes, all of it. That'll help with some grading and,
what would you say that line needs? And then we need to discuss, I think, as a board, how much do we want to fund?
I still haven't found it.
you don't have to worry about it, because there's nothing in it, so don't worry about
It's,
it.
Chris, it's on page 4.
Page 4, and it's at the very bottom.
24, and it's 2 lines up from the bottom. 522-7190, 400. I hate to give you another line to track, but I think it's probably worth it for you, because I think you should, you're going to start charging fuel to it, and there's different things you're going to want to charge to that.
It's $2,000 out of the realm.
Wow.
That's what
Wow.
you think. Well,
I mean,
think of it
compared
this
to what we're spending on the rail trail.
No, but this is, this
is
would be
that-
only really like at the
well,
beginning, because it's just
2,000
establishing it, then
The
afterwards,
only reason
it's
I'm
just,
looking at is
Well,
Rail
2,000.
Trail's established.
Are you asking for
Dog park isn't.
1,250?
This is just
So,
getting it
because that would
going.
give you you want a total of 2,000 in that line? So actually, Kitty's asking for 1,250, because we have 750.
Right.
is a stipend that they get, that we just write the check to them.
in kind.
Right.
Kevin?
So it'd be 1,250 of,
So
money
what I
to
want to
do
do is, I'd
stuff.
like to make a motion that we
Okay.
reduce AAA 522-7150-485 to $12,790,
so it would be 12,000, what, Jeff?
$790,
Okay,
and I will correct the number below that
Okay.
for you. And then I would like to increase AAA 522-7190-400 to $2,000.
okay, which would include the 750 stipend.
Right, the 2,000, the
Okay.
750 will be in
Okay,
there.
so I'll second that.
Is there any other discussion?
Kitty, just so you understand, this is really just to help at the beginning to get it established. It's not, you know. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion to carry. Thank you, Jeff. I'm sure they'll really appreciate you having done that.
And just so you know, the correct line now for the subtotals of the
Recreation.
522, that whole line now is 228,721.
Okay, thanks.
And by the way, I do appreciate a budget tremendously that goes to the dollar. I do understand budgets and why you round them off, but I do want to say thank you for the dollar. I actually do like it. I don't know if Jean likes it or not, but I do appreciate the actual dollar amount, because it means the lines were actually looked at. So thank you.
Okay, great. Is there anything else that,
I just want to bring up the fact that I think we should write a letter to the county and ask them to start distributing sales tax to the town of New Paltz based upon our aggregate assessed value instead of just the assessed value of the town outside the village. If you look at your AAA 980 1120 line, we have a revenue line of 175,000 that we get from the county. Based upon the calculations I've done and the facts I've looked at, that should be at least $75,000 to $80,000 more.
Which line is that?
it's our sales tax revenue in, if you go to the revenue page, Kevin, what page is it?
It's page,
Right.
no page number.
Right.
Oh, 'cause
The
it's-
revenues, I don't think do have pages on them. And what do you think that's supposed to be?
We're collecting, right now, we're collecting money based upon a $1.1 billion taxable value. So when the county allocates the sales tax among the towns, it does so based upon their taxable value. And when I looked at this and brought it up to the county, I saw that they're using the 1.1 number instead of our true taxable value, including the village, which is more of a magnitude of 1.8.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're getting gypped by a substantial amount of money.
Look at
And
page
quite
24.
frankly, even though the college is tax
Got
exempt,
it, yeah.
it does generate quite a bit of sales revenue for the
Yep.
county.
Can I ask, by any chance, did you look at Saugerties or,
Saugerties is getting over 10.7% of the money.
so are they getting the village also included in
It
theirs?
doesn't indicate that, so I have the comptroller looking into it, but I think we should write a letter
Would
to
you,
them.
would you draft a letter,
Yeah.
Kevin?
Asking them to start giving us our cut based upon the gross taxable value. Otherwise, we're getting hit twice.
Wait, so what percentage are we getting?
We're getting.
Do you want me to go get the sheet? Do you want me to go get the sheets I have in-
Sure,
I'll-
7% of the total.
So why would Saugerties be getting 10? It doesn't make sense.
Because their taxable value is in the magnitude of 1.8 billion, and ours is only listed at 1.1.
Which we would be at 1.8 if you inclusive
Yes.
of,
So we'd be at their number, which is a significantly higher number. So I'm just recommending that I'll draft a letter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Authorize it to be sent to the county, asking them for, to include in our taxable value or gross value.
how about Ellenville? Similar there?
He's looking into Ellenville too, the controller.
Since he's from there, I mean, he would have a good interest.
But that's a huge difference.
That's a huge, huge difference.
We're paying a penalty twice.
Right, we lose it and then we don't get the
We're
revenue.
generating
Yeah, we lose it and then we don't get it back.
I think this is the
So
stuff that
this
Kevin's
is what
talking
they've
about.
distributed. If you look at this, here's New Paltz here. Okay, what they've done is they did, you can't see it all the way through.
I can still follow.
What the county did is they looked at, this is our taxable value town outside the village, and this is the percentage of exemptions we have in the town outside the village. So that's the gross taxable value. What he did was, this is what we're getting paid on now.
I'm with you.
What he did was he ran it against this number and found out that we were losing $47,000 because of the amount of exempt property we had in the
I'm with
town
you.
outside
No,
the
I'm with
village.
you, yeah.
But this number should be 1.8
Yeah.
because they're excluding the village from our percentage,
Starting with the wrong number.
starting with the wrong number. It's a huge difference. And if you look at what Saugerties is in that, they get almost 10.6% of the money, which is substantially more than we get.
And I'd almost be suspected like this because obviously that includes the hamlet.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, why are we
it's not the-
almost?
they're not a village, they have a hamlet there, so.
So Kevin, when you
How was
asked
that?
Elliot about this, did he acknowledge that
This
we were...
makes
They're looking into it, but I want to write the letter.
This
Okay,
makes no
so you
sense
write it
here.
and we'll
No,
send it.
it doesn't, because
Yeah.
we're so much bigger.
Right. So something's wrong
It
in
is.
someone's math. No, I know. Well, Mohawk?
Well,
Is that what that is?
no, they're in Rochester.
No, I know, but I mean, yeah.
Why?
Well, how is the town of Olive how are they at 1.1, 1.19? What do they have in Olive?
But think about, we're at 1.1 on their sheet, we should be 1.8.
How's that?
It's a huge
Yeah.
difference.
What are they doing in, I'm trying to picture all,
Kind of a- What is that storage facility? Oh, Iron Mountain? No, that's Rosendale.
that's
I
Rosendale.
don't know.
I don't know.
So I'll draft
They
a
got a
letter.
small one, maybe,
Let's write
that
it.
small center.
That's
Like
okay.
And maybe
it's
next year we
very
start
well
getting
written.
paid on a higher.
Hopefully-
Christo's Olive, I'm trying to picture.
Hopefully,
And
hopefully.
most of Mohawk is
Low
in
tax all over.
Marbletown.
Could that have anything to do with it?
The reservoir? Reservoir can't have that.
Doesn't,
It could,
It's a city in New York.
but it
It's a
could,
city in New York.
they could be paying
Well,
taxes.
that's Shandaken.
He's got a good point, that could be the city, yeah, maybe the city of New York pays a huge,
at the end of Olive.
That's Shandaken, I thought.
It is Shandaken, I
no, it
think.
might be, it's Olive,
It is Olive.
Well,
No, the one thing,
could be.
so we'll do that, we'll write the
We go to
letter.
reservoir?
Okay.
I mean, the only thing is just on the fire budget, which is really difficult, is because we adopt our budget now, and you don't do your fire budget till next year. And so what we're actually doing this year is because what was in the budget 2 years ago when I came into office, I inherited the budget. What we ended up getting charged when you ended up doing your contract was more. So we actually are in debt on our fire line. We don't even have the fund balance to cover it. So we're actually using this year's budget, that we paid, plus we're raising a couple more $1,000 we had to add into it because we have to pay back to the fund balance, to the debt that, because we didn't raise enough taxes. With the fire budget, we only raised taxes and whatever, so what we ended up getting charged was more than we taxed for. So we're actually, in this budget, putting in more than what last year's budget was. We're putting in $261,317, and that includes last year's budget plus a couple $1,000s that is owed because we're at a deficit kind of stuff, so.
And at the end of this contract, which will be in May 31st, any unexpended funds
Come back.
come back to the town and village to be used to reduce fire tax in the next fiscal.
Well, hopefully that'll happen, because what happens is, again, we're putting money in now, but we, see, at one point, way back when, somehow we were doing the contract together, we were talking about it together, we were back like sort of more on a year, on a basis that worked, and then somehow, I think at some point, you went back to doing it like, an off year, which made it really hard for the town to budget. So what we have in, again, like I said, was this year's, contract, plus the money that was not taxed for, so we're in a deficit in our fire line, and we're taxing to make up for that money that wasn't taxed for last year.
Can we use,
There's no fund balance in the
well,
fire.
there doesn't need to be a fund balance, we can use more of, I know we have it expended in other areas, but the host benefit. Because we're giving them a percentage of the host benefit, and I know we
Not
already.
anymore, that got renegotiated. There's no post-benefit given to the fire department
We
now.
give us, well, we do it ourselves, so we get the full check, and then we're using.
No, but there was something, I can't remember exactly what, but in this last contract or something got changed, and the fire department was a part of it. I think it was in our it was in our budget with the fire department that
It
you
was an
guys,
offset. The
you
host
guys did that,
benefit
we gave an
was used by the
to
village.
offset for something that they wanted. You guys wanted some kind of reserved fund.
Right.
And so you
That went
negotiated
to
that.
your equipment
Yes,
reserve.
Right.
It used to, correct.
Yeah, but then they came up with, you guys negotiated it, and they came up with some new fund that they wanted
We are allowed up to
Right.
35% of the contract
for their company.
from the town. We, I believe, and that contract, and Kevin, you helped negotiate this.
Right,
I
the
think it was
village
about
waived the
10%.
No, I know. What I'm just saying is whatever you guys negotiated,
Right.
we ended up giving, they gave up the host benefit
Right.
because we're giving them other
But
money.
it's going to,
It's going to, we are not even looking as far as the fire company to increase that amount for us that we would receive. Okay?
Right.
What the village comes up and the chief come up with for operating expenses, the village and the town share that.
Right. All I'm saying is just that for us, it's a difficult situation because there's no fund balance. We're taxing what we think it's going to be. I can't come up with some arbitrary
That's why
budget.
you need a longer-term contract.
Right, exactly. So anyway, so I'm just pointing that out. So anyway, with all that, is there anything else that anybody wants? So then would somebody like to make a motion to adopt the budget as amended tonight?
I think you should.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the budget as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will say aye, and also I want to, again, thank you, Susan, for putting together a budget, both that was every single step of the way was on time, but also incredibly accurate, to which, as hard as I did search for miscalculations in the few that I did find, you had beaten me to them. And I will also thank, if Jean was here, I would thank her too. And I also look forward to us getting in our state report. I cannot see any reason why that will not be not only on time, but I anticipate actually early.
I hope.
Don't give me that look. I know
No.
it'll be on time.
I'm hoping this time. I honestly don't I don't see any problem next year with the annual report getting done in time, because.
No, but also I want to thank, it obviously shows the hours that were put into it, and also I believe all of our revenues for the first time in years, I'm very confident in your revenue numbers. There was a lot of adjustments I noticed. There are no revenues in here that I see that are inflated anyway. Up to and including, I know there was some discussion on the cable franchise, and I see that was adjusted to where it should be. So I believe we are in the shape we are in. I'm not, even though we do have a tax reduction this year, it is not. It is costing us. So thank you very much, and I do vote aye on the budget, for which I am happy to be able to vote on the budget again for the first time in 4 years. Yes.
Second. No, you voted last time.
We did. None of us voted last time.
He's talking about the one where you didn't die.
Yes,
Okay, anyway.
yes.
The one before that.
Yeah, I am. Oh, don't you worry. I know where I am.
Okay, so.
Well, I wish I could be as eloquent, but I.
You can be as eloquent.
I could be as eloquent as Jeff, but a
If you want to try, go
You
ahead.
can try.
I can't top that.
I don't.
Because,
No.
you know, coming from Jeffrey, that is just about the highest.
And I don't
praise.
feel well. And I don't feel well tonight either. So yeah. that's-
Well, thank you. Okay, motion so carried. And actually, I just have to say again to this board, I mean, I understand the assessed value of the town dropped by 3.9%.
Right.
So the fact that we were able to decrease taxes with a decrease in the assessed value, because if you take the 4% and then you add the decrease in the assessed value, if you did it at last year's rate, it would be even higher. Now, of course, the library actually knocks down that 4% now, and so it knocks it down by 1.5%, the increase in the library, but that's nothing we have control over. So it is what it is.
So for purposes of our discussion here, each so many $1,000 translates into a 1% delta. Do you know what that number is, Susan?
A while
do you
ago, it
want
was
that
like,
number to-
$35,000. I know the numbers changed.
So we were at a 4% reduction without 75 to the library?
Right.
So are you saying 75 is about a 1.6%?
So if you look at the library, it's a 1.5%. It adds to it, so it knocks it down to 2.5%.
So our goal is to try to for next year, it would be nice to be able to cut taxes by a much wider margin by bringing in more revenue.
If we can bring in more revenue, if the assessed value of the town goes up, if we can get the state to pay for fire rescue and police, there's many things we could work on to try to
That's
change
what we have to
the
work.
dynamics. I think we really have to focus on getting the state to help with emergency services.
Here, here.
And I also do, and let's all point out too, there are neighboring towns that touch our border that actually had to increase beyond the state 2% cap. So there have been increases. So for us to be able to report to put in a decrease again is very substantial. And you know, Chris is here, so I'll thank him. But I want to thank all of our department heads for how hard they worked in getting here. And Chris, thank you, because you are a big part of that.
I'll tell you, our department heads are really, I was talking about that with Carol today, about the people that work here. You know, right now, the staff that we have and stuff, people are really, really a team, and they're working really hard.
Then this next year, why don't we have an employee appreciation day?
Yeah, we should.
We should.
We have money in the budget.
We used to have a volunteer appreciation day, so I will happily attend such a party next year and appreciate all of you.
Okay, so with that, I guess a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Thank you, everybody.
You got home by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
That's what I was hoping for.
I was hoping that I would have to do work on this budget tomorrow. That's what I was hoping.
None to work, I can work 12 tomorrow.
Always loose ends.
We now have, if you go anywhere near the campus, we're now up to 6 kids positive flu
Budget,
tests,
I can bring it.
all from SUNY New Paltz.
Ready.
Did you bring it to the county? So it has to be in